Welcome to the Gigabyte Esports LAN. We're back with StarCraft action here on stream number 2 here at the Gigabyte. Oh man, JoRoSaR, I am so excited, and not also because we're casting, of course, but there's a real reason I'm excited.
There is indeed. We are in the quarterfinals now. Win big or go home, guys, is the order of the day here, and x6Sleep going to be going up against TSL Inori, Unstoppable Force, Immovable Object, StarCraft in the middle.
It's going to have to happen. And I'm really curious as to see how these matches are going to present, because Inori is such a PvZ sniper. He is one of those players who is known for his beauty, his surgical precision in dismantling his Zerg opponents. But Sleep, on the other hand, is quite a ZvP sniper as well.
Oh, very much
taking out guys like JYP, who is known, again, I mean, similar to Inori, as a PvZ specialist. And Sleep kind of has a really different style, I would say, of PvZ. He's been working on it a lot. He mixes a lot of Banelings, a lot of like Ling Bane aggression with drops. It's kind of an older style, and it's when it's executed as well as he does, at least, it's quite beautiful to watch.
And of course, he's very, very good at keeping his scouting out throughout games as well. I love casting him because all I do is click an overload, hold down V on my keyboard, and you go, wait, hold on a second, am I still watching the whole map? Because at the end of the day, his map vision going into the mid to late game is just so good. He keeps up with his creep spread and stuff like that. His Zerg macro mechanics and his map awareness is just so supreme going into late game here. So I'm really interested to see this matchup. It's going to be good.
It looks like both players are ready. We're going to be jumping straight into the game. The good lucks, the have funs, the go-goes have been said, and Cloud Kingdom, our first map here. And I gotta say, this is kind of an interesting map because Inori tends to go for some really aggressive pushes off 2 base to either secure his third or go for the all-in. Occasionally, he'll go for the big, like the really, really fast third, but he usually tends to be somewhat aggressive, so I want to see what he's going to opt to do. And this is actually a map where that aggression is very good because the push distance between the Protoss Natural and the Zerg third is quite short.
That's a really good point, actually, there, Gwyn. So we'll have to wait and see what does pop out in the late game here for both of these players. I actually have a couple of points I want to add as well to that. But first, spawning over here in the bottom left-hand corner, representing Team SCV Live here at the Gigabyte Esports LAN, it is none other than Inori, who's going to be facing off against from x6 as the blue Zerg in the top right-hand corner of the map. What an incredible player this guy is. Excellent macro mechanics. It is Sleep. And what I wanted to mention just now, actually, Gwyn, is that this is going to be really interesting because both these players have great late-game mechanics.
They do.
They can do the timing attacks, but they have good late-game as well. And the mechanics on this particular map are really interesting. There's so much cliff space that late-game large numbers of Colossi are really quite fun for the Protoss player. But at the same time, if you have Broodlords on the high ground, so we could really be setting ourselves up here for an absolutely epic endgame PvZ.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly could. Both these players are willing to play the macro game against each other, and it's anyone's game at this point. And you know, with Inori with his fantastic unit control, and then just really solid build orders, and Sleep with I mean, Sleep is one of those players who has got amazing multitasking. He did get completely out multitasked by Dream in his game there, but I think Dream is the only player who probably has that level of multitasking to keep up. Those games, Sleep versus Clyde, were so one-sided, it wasn't even funny.
It really was, and I'll be honest, I was casting that up on main stage with Thundertoss, and we both agreed we expected more from Clyde in those games.
Clyde's the best Terran in the world, so how can you expect more?
He's always been the best Terran in the world and always will be. So
Clyde. But unfortunately, he was eliminated by Sleep last round. Oh, look at that. Sleep sneaks the hatch down, and he's like, that rally point, it's 2 pixels too far away.
Interesting place to put the pylon here in the wall off, I will admit, from Inori. Not quite leaving enough space to put too much use.
I see. He's left a 1-unit space, I believe, between the pylon.
Yeah, it might be 1 unit.
Between the pylon and then. So he's dropping the gateway down. He will have just that 1U space. He hasn't thrown down the cannon yet. I mean, which it might be an issue because there are 4 lings headed across the map.
And he really wants a second pylon behind here as well. He doesn't want this pylon to become the weak point, especially when it's at the front of the wall.
I think Sleep is actually going to get these lings into the base if he heads straight there. There's no pro blocking, and Sleep knows this. He had the Overlord in a beautiful position, and here come the lings. That cannon is definitely not going to be finished in time.
If all 4 lings get into the base, that's actually a huge problem. When 2 lings get in, it's fine. insane.
It's so big.
When 3 lings get in, it's annoying. When 4 lings get in, you're
oh
thinking,
yeah, he's pulling all the probes, and Sleep knows he has to keep these lings alive. He is pulling them toward that middle lane. Doesn't want to get boxed in.
I love this.
Oh, this is so beautiful.
The decision to just keep running past the probes and not attack is excellent from Sleep. Come on, and he escapes with all 4 lings as well. All he needs to do is prevent mining time. Ideally, he just wants Inori to chase him non-stop. We do have one of those lings at very low health right now. He should really pull that into the back. Yep, there we go. Look at that micro from Sleep there.
You know, he could just pick off this pylon as well. I mean, there's so much harassment potential here for these lings. He doesn't even have to really go for those probes as long as he avoids, you know, but going after the probes on gas, that's so annoying for Inori.
Yeah, Inori's going to find it very difficult to mine gas as long as the lings sort of keep around this position. He's doing his best to continue mining. I mean, the work account's currently 26 to 23. Oh, the Zealot does get one of those lings now.
Nice,
and Inori should be okay in the next minute or two. In the meantime, we see a very fast third base, of course, coming out from Sleep. So it looks like we're going to be transitioning into a fairly normal ZvP where Sleep has had the opportunity to do some very frustrating harassment damage early on, as now only 1 ling remains.
Down to 1 ling. He does get to see the gas timings with extreme precision, though, seeing that second gas finish up immediately, 3 probes pulled. But this is one of those situations where Inori is going to be about 200 to 300 minerals behind in everything he does from here on out. And the reason for that is just that he has lost so much mining time, continually having to pull probes, pull them back to mining, pull probes, pull them back to mining. And you might not think, oh, you know, it's not that much time lost, but it adds up quite a bit as time goes on. So Sleep has done wonders with his aggression. I would like to see him check the gases at the natural and check the chrono boost on that bottom nexus as just kind of a final scouting round. But so far, amazing play out of him.
Sleep has just been doing so well. And look at this, already very early on in the game, actually positioning these overlords in fairly aggressive positions.
Very
at the end of the day,
aggressive
they could potentially get sniped off, but he also sees when the units are going to be popping out from Inori as well. Another one on the edge of the main base. If this were any other Zerg putting the overlords in these positions this early on in the game, I'd be like, he's going straight to Nidus Worm. But it's just, Sleep is so good with his map vision, it actually doesn't matter. Even moving away when he saw the Stalker, even though the Stalker actually has no high ground vision from there. So he
but the Zealot, Inori knows, man. He pulled the Zealot there. So this overlord is going to stay alive as long as possible. It's now heading into the main. And the question is, will it see that third gateway? Because he delayed the third gateway by quite some time, just sowing the 2 gates. And I mean, there are a couple PvZ builds where you get the 2 gates out and then you go for a quicker robotics. But that's not what we see going for that third gate. And look at that, a really quick third. But Sleep, man, he is moving in with a bunch of lings here, 10 to be exact, going straight after the Nexus, and this absolutely will force the cancel.
Yeah, I was a little bit unsure when I saw the third there. I thought that Inori, especially considering that Sleep had such good map vision with that Overlord. Going for that fast third is always going to be a bit of a dicey maneuver. He is starting his own Twilight Council, though, which you can see here in the main base. This is a really late Twilight
Council, though, for not having the third up. I mean, if you're going to take the fast third and then throw the Twilight Council up, I think that's the way to do it. But, I mean, going down at almost 9 minutes there, or I guess about 8 minutes with its production time, usually you see that come up sooner if it's going to be any blink aggression out of the Protoss.
Indeed. We have some Roaches going to be popping... potentially popping out here from Sleep, I should say. That actually finished the Roach Warren along with the Evo Chamber in the natural expansion some time ago, but we still only see Lings in production, and that might primarily be because the Lair is on the way and a Macro Hat, so we're going to have to wait and see what he has in store.
Yeah, this is going to be a really heavy unit build. I mean, it's either going to be a lot of Roach Ling out on the map, or it's going to be, you know, Ling Muta, which, I mean, we easily could see Sleep does love that Mutalist play against Protoss. You know, that Mutiling Bane style. And we see Blink coming out from Inori, so it is, Sleep tries to do a run by, but Inori this time has a Zealot in position. That +1 attack is finished, +2 on the way. And I like Sleep's decision to go for the Carapace upgrade on that Evo Chamber.
And look at this, Gwin.
Oh,
a little bit sneaky here. He's got a 4th base in the top left location, trying to sneak that in. And in the meantime, we have both a Spire and an Infestation Pit coming down at the same time for our Zerg player. So that would explain the Ling-only production. He doesn't want to use the gas doing anything else because he wanted to get all of that tech up at the same time. And whether this Spire ends up being for Muta or whether he wants to go straight for a greater Spire later on remains to be seen, but he used an awful lot of gas very quickly just then. He is saving up 800 though, so that gives me an indication here that he might actually be going for those Mutalisks.
Yeah, I mean, usually you want to bank that gas so you can just pump out a whole ton. But I mean, that Spire is not even halfway done, and Blink is done. Inori does show off that, oh, hey, I've got Blink, buddy. But oh, look at this Sleep, man. He's just playing ring around the center gap there on this map. He's just target firing the Nexus with all of these Lings. I don't know if this is the best move. I think this is a little bit folly. He does get all the shields down, no hull damage though, and he does end up having to pull back. But this is great because even if he did not do any damage with that, he forced Inori to be aware that that run through was a possibility. And I mean, if Sleep goes in for a round 2 or a round 3, he could absolutely make some damage happen.
I think he definitely could. These Lings are actually just idle over here in the bottom right now, and Inori actually pulled everything back. He does have a Photon Cannon in a pretty nice position where it's difficult to get a surround on it, but Lings would be able to dispatch that if required, and the Nexus would definitely sustain some heavy damage. Army now going to be moving out towards the third, realizing he needs to protect that, but Sleep, with this fourth base that Inori definitely has not scouted yet. So excellent stuff, and look at this creep spread. Look at these mechanics.
Yeah, I think that Inori actually knows that base is there because he had a couple Zealots harassing Sleep's third, and he saw drones transferring up that direction, so I wouldn't be surprised if he knows. A little bit of engagement going down here at Inori's front. Sleep decides to pull back.
And that's because the third is under attack simultaneously. We have some Lings being pulled in, but nice warping of Zealots actually trapping most of the Lings from getting in. They will be able to pick up a couple of pros, but nowhere near as many as they otherwise would have. The Zealots doing a great job there. 7 workers killed from Sleep, not bad. The current worker count, there's 78 to 64. Inori not exactly in trouble yet.
No, he certainly isn't. We have 2 Evo chambers now for Sleep. He's gotten that plus Carapace upgrade, but now he's opting to go for the missile attacks. And I mean, this is kind of a dual-purpose upgrade, right? It's going to help out those infested Terrans, but it's also going to help out the Roaches. And if you're sticking with that Infestor style, you're definitely going to be throwing down those infested Terrans. But Inori already on some Templar tech. And that means that he will be able to snipe those infestors with feedback if he can get close enough in time.
That's a great point, actually. And Psionic Storm just got started and is being chrono boosted in the main base of TSL Inori as well. He is down on supply, though, at the moment. 142 to 177 supply as it currently stands, as Sleep looks like he is poised to take yet another base over here on the right-hand side.
Look at the 9 o'clock position there. Inori tries to lay down a pylon, but Sleep actually had a Ling just sitting there and sees it. But a huge counterattack. Is this going to be enough, though? This is a beautiful Zealot wall. Those Zealots with +2 ripping through the 1-1 Lings, but the 1-1 Lings doing a fair amount of damage as well. He is just target firing the Nexus, and once again, is he going to be able to get it? The Protoss forces pulling back. He cannot afford to lose his third. JoRoSaR, this is so close. Contaminate as well. Wow.
That was an awful lot of Lings. Admittedly, all of those Lings actually got sacrificed there, so Sleep losing a ton of supply in exchange for this. The current army supply is 85 to 87 in Sleep's favor because he has been able to reproduce very quickly, but bear in mind that that completely evens it out, and Inori has full energy sentries with this army composition. He has high Templar with Storm almost complete as well. The next minute or two is going to be extremely dangerous for Sleep, and Inori now officially knows
scary.
about this base.
Yeah, I mean, and Inori moving up toward that position, or at least to harass where the normal 4th base for the Zerg is, but of course Sleep has not really expanded those places. He doesn't have a lot of drones here, so I mean, if he does lose this base, it's not the biggest deal ever, but he definitely doesn't want to. But here come the Roaches, and they're actually engaging some of these Zealots, going for the Templar before Storms can go down, and Storms on Roaches are not the most efficient. There are, of course, an Archon being morphed, some of those sentries having to waste a lot of force fields.
Excellent force field donut there, Gwin. Look
force
at that.
fields.
Excellent stuff, and Inori showing some exemplary force field play here. Ooh, no observer with this army, though. So when Sleep burrows those Roaches, Inori has no choice but to either wait for an observer or move away. Yes, he's going to be sitting there waiting for... and there we go.